It's a easy style for me. It's an easy fight. Trust me, his style is easy. He got a wild style. If people think I'm wild, come on. He wants to call out the best fighters, but he don't want to fight the best fighters. Dillian Whyte, get your together, man. That's all you got to do. Go fight the right fights and stop running away from the fight. Dillian Whyte is...
Those are the words of Deontay, the Bronze Bomber, Wilder. As he states that Dillian Whyte needs to get his shit together, go fight the right fights and stop running from fights. Dillian Whyte is an easy fight for him. He's got a wild style. And people think I'm wild. He wants to call out the best fighters, but don't want to fight the best fighters. Those are the words of Deontay the Bronze Bomber Wilder. Now, let me counterpunch. Okay? Listen, first off, I don't know why Deontay would say that he doesn't fight the best fighters. I mean, because he fought Anthony Joshua, he lost. He fought Joseph Parker, former champion. Alexander Povetkin, former champion. Lost and then got it back. Beat Joseph Parker. Fought Derek Chisora twice. Knocked out Derek Chisora the second fight. What else could he have done on that side of the street? You know, besides fight himself, Wilder, or Tyson Fury. So I don't know. Well, I do know what he's talking about. And let me explain. Deontay Wilder is saying that Dillian Whyte doesn't fight the best fighters because he was referring to the one fighter that he beat, that he gets credit for. You know, and I've been waiting a long time to see Dillian Whyte take on Ortiz myself. Yeah, out of curiosity, but for another reason, to shut everybody up, because the minute Ortiz, regardless of age, gets a fight with somebody that's credible other than Wilder, he will gain credibility as well as Wilder gaining credibility only if he wins. See, Deontay Wilder tries to throw Dillian Whyte in that category of being scared of Luis Ortiz. I don't think Dillian Whyte is afraid or scared of Luis Ortiz. I think Luis Ortiz has a terrible management team. Not trainers. You know, I'm not talking about Herman. I'm not talking about him like Calcedo. I'm not talking about him. I'm talking about his management team. They're terrible. He needs to get he should have fired when they fucked up on that Anthony Joshua fight. I knew at that time that he wasn't in control of his career. Luis Ortiz wasn't. Okay? So I feel that his team self-sabotaged him from getting those big fights with guys like Anthony Joshua and those guys like Dillian Whyte, because they didn't want Deontay Wilder, when they were marketing Deontay Wilder like that, they didn't want him to be beaten, because if he gets beat, then it makes Deontay Wilder look bad, because Deontay Wilder can't say anymore that he was the only one to beat Ortiz, and Ortiz is avoidable and people are avoiding him and they won't want to fight him. That's what Deontay Wilder's talking about right there. Now, I feel that Wilder's right, hypocritically, but he's right about Whyte. Whyte is a wild, he has a wild style. You know what I mean? But that's just like Tony Montana saying to Charlie Sheen, "Hey man, you know, you're a cokehead. You do too much coke, you know." Like, you do coke too. Wilder is wild too. It's in his name. He's wild. Okay, and I think he's just trying to bring that up because he's like, oh, he's an easy style for him. Okay, regardless of how I feel about that matchup, because Wilder has a totally different style and from Whyte. Okay, I think that type of fight is two wild people. If we can say anything about these fighters, is they're both wild. Both of them swing wild and crazy. Dillian Whyte gets emotional, starts swinging overhand and all that stuff, like he did with the Povetkin fight, like he did with in the Anthony Joshua fight, when Anthony Joshua thought hit him after the bell, he starts swinging all wild and shit. You know what I mean? Yeah, they both do the same shit. They get in their feelings, they get emotional, they fight with emotion, and they start swinging wild. Both of them do that. Come on, who do we know as Windmill? Come on, think about it. Who do we know as Windmill? Let's be real. That's Wilder. Okay? And honestly, I think I haven't seen Wilder as wild as he's been for the last few fights. I haven't. I've seen him when he thought he had Fury out of there, and he started swinging wild, and Fury was able to punch in between those punches. Okay, and be more elusive and actually start thinking in there, you know, and thinking his way out of it. Okay, here comes the left, here comes the right, which a lot of guys just kind of ball up and let that guy attack him like Stavern and Gerald Washington did. You know what I mean? When he caught you, he would just windmill you out of there and just mow you down, you know, with these punches, regardless of where they land. I mean, he's so wild, he can't even punch place the punches legally. But it's up to the ref, of course, to call them or not. And a lot of times the ref doesn't call it. So that's what we have. Okay? But to say, yeah, that he's wild, yeah, you're both wild. But to say hey, he's wild, hey, come on, talk about I'm wild. Look, he's there in that. Matter of fact, I don't think nobody's wilder than Wilder. I think Whyte has balance issues, if I can say anything about Whyte. But, I mean, he does throw some wild punches. And for that matter, Luis Ortiz. Look at Luis Ortiz in their first fight. He was throwing punches all over the place. So, yeah, they're both wild. There's a lot of people that throw punches. You know, Demetrius Andrade. He's another guy that throws shit. He'll swing himself down to the ground. You know, I think that's a balance problem. But I think Wilder is naturally wild because he didn't practice his technique, nor did he wish to. He thought he was good enough, and when you think you're good enough, you can't be taught. Facts. But I'm going to leave you with this, guys. For him to say Dillian Whyte needs to get his shit together, where the fuck is Wilder to say that? I don't know when this was done. I was told to counterpunch this because Dillian Whyte said, hey, I want to punish the Browns bomber. The coward is full of fear. Come see me, you fraud clown. That's what he said. Okay, so I'm counterpunching this. But I am thinking about the words Wilder says. It's up to Wilder now. Since he's already put Dillian Whyte in his mouth, since he's announced or said that he plans to come back, he needs to fight Whyte now. That's the biggest fight besides the fight that we're waiting to see if it's announced or not to make. So Wilder can stop feeding his bullshit fan base some conspiracy about fight Tyson Fury and Anthony Joshua holding up their fucking super fight for him. So, you know, so they can stop that. And then at the same time, Deontay Wilder can move on with his career by fighting a top opponent. Not fighting somebody like Helenius or somebody. No. Fight somebody on the top level if you still review yourself as a king. Counterpunch. And if Dillian Whyte is such an easy style for Deontay Wilder, I don't think he believes that. I'm going to use his own words. I don't think Wilder believes that. I think Whyte is just as dangerous enough to beat him, just like Povetkin knocked out Dillian Whyte. Those things can happen in the sport. And then see, Deontay at the time where he was dipping and slipping, Whyte, he knew that as a possible fight in the midst of Anthony Joshua, but he wanted to get his marquee value up. So he wanted to fight knockout Fury that just got off the couch. That shit didn't work the way he thought it was going to work. But what did happen before that was Anthony Joshua lost. So there's a lot of things that transpired. But at this point in the game, these two guys, DW versus DW, should fight each other. And if Dillian Whyte is that easy like he says, fight the fucking guy and knock him out and show everybody how easy he is. But anyway, I'm going to leave you guys with that. You guys tell me what you think of Deontay Wilder's words towards Dillian the Body Snatcher Whyte and Dillian Whyte's words towards Deontay the Bronze Bomber Wilder. Of course, please subscribe. And you guys been Counterpunch. Peace.